what's going on, everybody? This is the ToyBoyz podcast. I'm here with Avery, Chris, myself, Chad, Eric, and Jared. And this is episode 2 of the ToyBoyz podcast. Gentlemen, ToyBoyz, assemble. So what's up? What's up first? So what are we talking about today? So first, I think one of the biggest things in toy news, gentlemen, is Funko dumps $30 million worth of pops into a landfill. What do you think about that?
First of all, is this true?
I'm not crying about it.
Why they do it?
Yeah, no, this is 100% true, Avery. Yeah, it's 100% true. This is a thing. It actually already happens as of the recording of this podcast. Oh, yeah, I got a couple. I actually picked up one at MegaCon a couple weeks ago. It's Spock, and he's sitting in the captain's chair, and it was only $12. That's why I got it. $12 Funko Pop Spock in the captain's chair, doing the little live long and prosper. I thought that was pretty cool. What do you have, Avery?
Well, actually, here in Kuwait, I actually got a Superman Red when he had the electric suit. I got one of those. I got my friend got me a Superman one, and then I got some black action figures. I can't remember what they are right now. I know I got a Green Lantern, and I got I got a Green Lantern. I got a Black Lightning. I got a Hawkman from the movie, and then I have Who Remains from Loki. And then, like, my friend one time for my birthday last year or the year before got me, like, the Transformer wave that came out. So I got, like, Optimus Prime, Soundwave, Bumblebee, Megatron, and Starscream. So I have a few, but I'm not serious. So I have a question. Did Funko say why they dumped all those access Funkos away like that? The Pops away?
Yeah. So, Chris, did you read the article? Do you remember better than I do what all that was about?
Yeah, they had too much overstock that was taking space in like their storage or their buildings or whatever, and they came to the realization that just dumping them would be cheaper than them having them in a storage taking up space, which makes a lot of sense if you have a lot of inventory that's just, sitting there.
And I think a lot of us are like, well, seems like such a waste. That's $30 million worth of Funko Pops. Surely there are worthy charitable organizations out there that serve children. Like, why wouldn't you give this to them so that they could distribute it to, like, their children and whoever they're helping that are in need? And I think it was... And Chris, you might be able to answer this, or Eric, from reading the article, you might be able to remember this better than I do. But I think they said it would like devalue the product if they just flooded the market with like $30 million worth of pops randomly. Does that sound familiar?
That's what I read, but I don't know. I don't remember if I read that from somebody else posting it or it was like actually in the article. But I believe that's yeah.
The question I have is why did they have so much excess inventory? Is the interest of this line fading a little bit, or they're overestimating the demand for it?
That's a good question because I feel like there was a few different properties that were involved here. I think Harry Potter was one of them.
I heard Nightmare Before Christmas. They had like some Nightmare Before Christmas like Christmas ones.
Really?
That were there. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, maybe it was overproduction. Like you said, maybe they're just overestimating the demand. I gotta tell you, man, I do not care about these things. Just in general, I bought that Spock the other day because he's sitting in the captain's chair, and I thought that was kind of cool. And for $12, I mean, I was definitely not going to walk away from that. But I want my stuff to look like the stuff it's supposed to look like. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying it's got to be 100% screen accurate, like down to the last little detail, and but still, man, what were you gonna say, Chris?
I just bought some last week for the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah,
I went to Box Lunch to get like a Guardians jersey, and then the guy was like, "Oh, we just got the pops in," and I was like, "Oh wow!" And they made one of like Cosmo the space dog.
Oh,
so I was like, oh man, okay, I need to get that. And then I saw Adam Warlock and the new Star-Lord in his new outfit and everything. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm getting all these. But I also got one recently too from Big Bad Toy Store because they always have like these clearance sales.
Yeah.
They had one that was from that what's that what's that show where is it Black Mirror?
On Netflix, you're talking about?
Yeah, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
You know, like the Star Trek episode that they did.
Oh yes, yeah.
They made some pops from that episode. So,
oh really?
Yeah. So I bought the one of the girl because that was the only one they had. But
yeah,
one thing
I think you've said this to me before, Chris. I think the good thing about Funko Pops, and again, I'm not a big fan of them, but like the fact that they do have so many licenses really is impressive. And a lot of it is like, nobody else is going to make those Black Mirror figures probably, right? So like, if you get it from Funko, that might be your only option. Eric, I'm sorry, were you going to say something, man?
I was basically going to say the same thing. Like if it's a very niche property, Hasbro's not going to make a line, McFarlane's not going to make a line, but a couple of pops, that's easy to pump out there. And there's just like incredibly niche things I've seen in the store where I'm like, I would love that as like, an action figure, but it's never going to happen.
Like a real,
It's your only chance.
Some of those niche ones too, because they don't really, I don't know if they don't make as many, or because the fans actually like, want to have those for themselves, they become like pretty valuable later. And like it's like, I mean, even if they're not like extremely valuable, they're like, some of them go for like $80 and you're just like, oh well, I'm not gonna pay $80 for a pop,
actually.
Yeah, man.
So my homegirl Sherry, she collects pops, and she was trying to declutter her house. So she had this Red Skull pop. She got like $500-$600 for it. Some she only paid like $12 for it. She got like $500-$600 for it.
Cool. I just like the idea of your friend walking into the mechanic shop with like 3 pops. Like, here you go, this should cover it. Keep the change.
Dude, that happened to me too. I got some at like a comic at like San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I had stored them in my sister's garage, and I kind of forgot about them. And then like, I don't know, like 4 years later, I was like, oh, I forgot these were here. And I put them up, and for like 3 pops sold for like $700.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
Were they exclusives? Comic-Con exclusives? Is that what they were?
Yeah, they were Comic-Con exclusives. I know one was like a White Ranger that I think it glowed in the dark. One was like Rick Grimes that was like bloody, and I forget what the third one was, but I was just and they were, some of them were kind of like a little like damaged and a little bit because they were just stored in the garage. And I just put it in the listing. I'm like, hey, they have a little bit of wear on them, and the guy was happy to pay that money. I was like, man, this guy's gonna cancel the order or like claim something after, but I guess he was really happy with getting those rare ones.
That's cool. I literally forgot what I was just about to say. I do think it's funny that like you can get bloody Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead with that big head and those huge cute eyes and it's this little tiny little pop, and he's like dying basically, just all bloody and disgusting. That's funny. I gotta tell you, man, I go to a lot of toy shows here in Orlando. I go to a lot, and nothing makes me more disappointed than walking in and there's just like pops everywhere, just vendor after vendor, which is walls and walls of pops. I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to be here.
That's what I don't like about them. That's like the biggest pet peeve is like there's so many dealers that deal with pops and only in pops, it's cool if you have some pops, but like it's nice to have some variety too, because but I mean I will say that like if you're dragging your girlfriend to a toy show or something, it kind of gives her something to be like, oh, this is cute, I like this.
Yeah, so I guess you and I could both speak firsthand about that specifically, because I've gone through the same thing. Like she, anytime we go and she sees like these Disney pops, for example, like in any Disney pops, she'll just instantly want to go look at them. Disney pops and Disney like pens and stuff like that, pen trading or whatever at toy shows. So that's kind of like the trade off is that like if she goes with me, then there's always those cute little pops there that she can check out. So, I mean, there is no denying, like, the popularity. I mean, they're out there. There's vendors selling them, and people are buying them. And I mean, I'm not one of them. I have that Spock one that I have, and I had to have a random. This was years ago. I got in the subscription box. It's a Wolverine on his motorcycle, and that one was pretty cool. I like the. I think I like the added like the whole vehicle, like Spock in a chair, like Wolverine on a motorcycle. I think that kind of adds another dimension to it that I do really appreciate.
When I went thrift shopping one time, I found some that were like loose, and it was like from the show Supernatural, and one of them was like with the car, and that one was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and I put it up, and those sold for like $300.
Crazy. That's amazing.
Loose.
Yeah, loose. Really, that's insane. Yeah, man. I mean, and they display well too. And those boxes, that is one thing you got to appreciate.
Yeah.
Is how the way they're designed is just
they're very
perfect little
stackable.
box.
Yeah,
I
prefer them in the box.
Into them, and he has an entire wall, like just all pops because they stack so nice. You can just cover an entire wall with them.
Can I add something else real quick?
It's about the only
man. I mean, you can't.
So
yeah, of course. Yeah,
I had a coworker who just left Kuwait, but she has over 1,000 pop, and she would get the protector. The pops actually have like a protector's case too, that even goes around the box.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, holy moly! But that's all I wanted to add. But the only thing about Kuwait, which I'm at a disadvantage at, and I ran into this when I went to the Kuwait Comic-Con back in 2018. They're all coming from the same vendor, so basically every store basically has the same pops. Like if you go to America, some stores might have something that others might not, or if you go to a thrift store or a swap meet or even a Comic-Con, the stock on hand might be different. But here, you're pretty much going to see the same thing until somebody gets some new stuff in.
Are they like the American versions, or are they like different?
No,
do they have?
Only difference is you probably might pay more money because of the exchange rate. Because the Kuwaiti dinar is worth more than American stuff. So that's like when I bought the Star Wars Star Destroyer and the Batman Batwing from the Lego store. I paid more than what you would have paid back in the States if you got it. But because both were discontinued back in the States, I paid prices kind of cheaper or comparable to what you would have paid secondhand now. You see what I'm saying? So kind of balanced out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any cool like secondhand like vintage stores out there, or you kind of not really, like it's all mainstream like
a couple of my friends
stuff.
have been out and told me about a store where there was some secondhand comics, and I don't know if they got secondhand toys there, but I haven't had a chance because see, one reason why I've kind of been MIA, I've been locking myself in my office because I'm working on this class that I need to take in order for me to make Lieutenant Colonel next year. So I've got till May 19th to finish the class. So I've been locking myself in the office because if I come to the room, I either get distracted or just fall asleep. So I'm trying to knock that class out. Thanks.
Cool. Good luck with that.
Yeah, man. Good luck. That's crazy. I know we mentioned this last episode that Avery is not appearing on camera right now. We're just getting his audio. We'll probably throw a photo up of him or something because he's serving in Kuwait right now. So he's live streaming. What time is it there right now, Avery?
So I'm 7 hours ahead of the East Coast, and then I'm 10 hours ahead of the West Coast.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man. So appreciate you being here, even though we kind of weren't able to get the video in right now yet because of connection issues. But we'll find a beautiful photo of you that we can pop up there probably. So speaking of kind of those pops and how impressive they are, like how great they look with that plastic, the window. Put up a display. Eric, I know you were talking about this earlier, that Hasbro has announced that they're returning to the plastic packaging and they're getting away from that no window packaging that collectors hate. How do you feel about that, man? How's that? What are your thoughts on it?
I'm totally excited. I'm relieved, but I'm also kind of cynical that this wasn't their plan from the beginning, because in their press release, they talked about how the plastic that they will be returning to is going to be what's the acronym? PET 6 or something. It's some form of recycled plastic that they're going to be using, because they were saying we still want to be committed to the environment, and our goals and whatever our ideals, but so it's going to be recycled plastic. I think this is a move to justify another price hike, which will come, where they'll bump the figures up by another couple bucks, and they'll say, well, you guys wanted the plastic and we brought it back for you, but that stuff's expensive, sorry, you're gonna have to pay a little more. And we've already had like
their stuff's so
3 price hikes
already.
like during COVID, 3 different times, like a figure that was like a Black Series Star Wars figure, $19.99, went up to like $22.99, now it's $24.99. So I can see it going to like $26.99 because of this. We'll see what happens. So the whole thing could have just been like, we know this is going to piss people off, but we're going to do it anyway, and then we'll bring it back and we'll charge them more. Because, sorry, I'm kind of a cynical guy sometimes when it comes to these big corporations.
Hey, Eric,
that's the double cross, right? Like, just that's terrible. Yeah. What do you going to say, Avery?
I'm just asking Eric or to the group. So having it in plastic is going to cost more than the cardboard, but I thought cardboard went up because of COVID, with the supply chain management issues.
Well, everything's going up. I mean, from what I'm hearing, almost any contractor I talk to, any work I need done on my house, any service I'm having performed, fertilizer for my lawn, I mean, I'm told everything's more expensive. I mean, it's like a domino effect throughout everything.
And I think it's the recycled plastic, right? It's just costs more than just, it costs more to create that, right? I think that's where the issue comes in. It's not that they're just using plastic, it's the recycled plastic, which is, it is better for the environment, and that's great and that's fantastic. But yeah, it might put a higher cost on them, which gets passed on to, us as the consumers.
I think, Eric, you have an example of one, right? Don't you have one right there?
Yeah, I mean, well, I've even got this one. So Indiana Jones line started coming out. So it's just a picture, of the toy, which I think that's really silly. If you're going to have no window, why not have some beautiful artwork or something, or, something from the official like this, on the side looks nice. Some cool art. But, when we were kids, like if you bought a G.I. Joe vehicle, the whole front of the box was artwork, a really cool picture of Sky Striker or whatever. And then you turned it around on the back, and then there was the picture of the toy that was inside. And then in more recent years, all the toys are the vehicles are pre-assembled. So they had the giant window on the front so you could see the toy like already built. But so I thought that was just kind of like really silly. Like, oh, it's a picture of a toy on the front. Like, and then also.
Well, it's kind of funny because it's like you're holding this cardboard box and you're like, hey guys, if you use your imagination, you could think about the toy that's inside of this. You know what I mean? It's so bizarre that, I don't know. I appreciate the fact that they were doing it for the environment. Yeah, but like here's
the plastic window that they'll go back to.
Yeah.
Somebody make sure somebody hasn't swapped the figure out, because
exactly.
I've heard stories about that. Especially like Amazon and stuff. Like you'd very carefully open it back up, put a different figure inside, tape it back up, return it. And then Amazon, if it wasn't sent back as defective, Amazon would resell it to somebody else, and then they got screwed. So
it sounds like you've done this a lot, Eric.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
That's like an idea.
Yeah, it's kind of how desperate you are.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Like the paint applications, or someone could switch the figure out. It's like there's too much risk in there,
I mean, I'd be fine. If it's toys marketed for little kids, where they're just gonna rip that box open, toss it aside,
who
they
cares
don't care.
about them?
I mean, that's fine. But this is a collectible, adult market you're aiming towards. People want to see the figure they're buying.
Yeah, I know I've done this. I know maybe a lot of you guys too. Is when there's multiples of a figure, you'll pull all 3 or 4 of them down and try to see which one has the best paint app,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Especially if it's something you're going to be paying, $20, $25 for a piece of plastic. You want the best version of that. I think they're doing that with Marvel Legends, right? Hasbro's doing that with Marvel Legends. They're doing that with the new D&D figures, and it just looks strange to me. So it's nice that it'll be like plastic again. You'll be able to see inside of it. I don't know if I bought any of them yet. I have. I actually have the Marvel Legends, the Blob figure. Now that I think about it. Yeah, that's
a cool figure.
Yeah, I got that from Big Bad Toy Store a while ago, and that was kind of my first time of like, oh, okay, this is a cardboard box. So it'll be kind of nice to them to kind of get back to that plastic window. So speaking of kind of like that display and these plastic windows and stuff, so. For Eric, are you like a mitten box guy, or I know you've got a lot of stuff open back there, but some of these newer things you buy, do you typically keep them in box, or what do you do, man?
I've kind of joked around, especially with my wife, because I have I'll call it a backlog of items that are not opened yet. I fully intend to open all of them if I had the space to display all of them, but especially if it's like a larger, like I have the NECA Aliens, the Queen from the movie Aliens. It's a larger,
very nice figure, man.
It's a beautiful figure, and it's still in the box, and it's been in the box for like that came out 10 years ago. I mean,
really,
but it's not on display in the box. It's just in a pile, in the corner, because there's no shelf right now where it can go on. I mean, it would.
Yeah.
I'd have to take 10 or 20 figures off another shelf to put that Queen on.
Big.
So yeah, it's not by choice. It's just there's too much product. It comes out too fast, too often, and I think I talked about last time. I do Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers. That alone. There's just so many. There's a wave every 2 or 3 months. So. And there's the FOMO. It's like, well, if I don't buy it now, it's gonna be twice the price on eBay later. So even though I can't display it, I can't really enjoy it. I feel like I just got to get it now, and it goes on the pile. And maybe one day, either I win the lottery, or I don't know, my kid moves out of the house and I can use her bedroom for another toy room. I got some ideas, but I don't know if they're gonna fly. With the misses. So it's just kind of biding my time before like this pile that's over here can be dug into one day.
No, I totally get it, man. I refrained. It took a lot of effort to refrain from getting into that NECA Aliens line because I've always been a big Aliens fan. So I just kept the Kenner stuff, the classic Kenner 1990s stuff that they released, mostly Wave 1. I think maybe I have a couple of like the Snake Alien or whatever from Wave 2. But yeah, I couldn't do it, man. It's between the money and just the space. And I know that Queen's a good looking figure, man. I know it looks good.
Yeah.
What about you, Jared? Do you keep your stuff? I mean, what do you do with it, man?
Yeah, I usually just keep it in the box. I mean, I don't have that much room to display things, so the things I do display, they're out. But I mean, it's still in the box. That way, I can rotate things out if I want, or store them more easily.
Very cool, very nice. Chris, obviously you got a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
open behind you.
I just started recently, like actually yesterday and last week, kind of rotating stuff out. Like I've been looking at stuff that I'm just like, okay, like this is just taking up space. Like I like it, but I have a lot of other stuff that's like in boxes still that I like even more, and I haven't displayed. So like I took a couple figures out, took some out of the box and put them in here. I want to get rid of this whole bottom display I have down here, with the bottom shelf, and put some stuff in because I have something really big coming, hopefully like next week or the week after. So and then also like my 1/6 figures are getting like super cluttered up there, so I want to move some of those down to the bottom. But yeah, I also have like the Aliens Queen. I have the Power Loader, but they're just like sitting in my storage. I have this too, this American Werewolf.
Yeah, I've got that
been wanting for a long time.
I got that too.
I don't have the space to put it right now, so it's just sitting in the box.
Oh,
you know.
The box does look really cool for that one, though. So that one is a nice one to kind of display.
But the figure looks even better.
True.
But it does have that really cool art, like that you were talking about, like, which is awesome that they did for this, specifically for this, figure.
It'd be cool to take the figure out and display it like in front of the box. Like
that's what a lot of people do, and I really think that's like a real sharp look. Personally, I really like that. That's probably what I'm going to do with them. I've got. I was just showing Chris this earlier, like these NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, like the Universal Monster crossover line or whatever, and it kind of has that same like VHS style packaging. And I think that's a real good look, because when people have the figure displayed in front of the box like that, I'm a fan of that.
I actually don't like that.
No.
I don't like it
because Chris. I'm kicking you out.
I don't like it because I always see like a lot of guys, and they have their collection and stuff, and they have the box behind it, and I'm just like, these guys are just overcompensating for how little of figures they have. Like, think about how much more space you would have for more figures if you put those boxes away. You know what I mean? But
replace all that cardboard with some more plastic.
Exactly. Yeah. But people, and then people's like, "Oh, it's such a cool collection, great idea." But I'm always like, man, like, okay, you have like I could count how many figures you have, but I guess, quantity over quality, whatever.
I love it. I get that, because I do feel the same way, because it is spread out, especially like this whole line. I think there's 6 figures in this line, 7 figures in this line right now.
Yeah.
So like, there's only so much space, box figure, or whatever. But like, I think if you have the space, like, to kind of properly display that, I think it's a good look. Like, I've got the NECA Alf figure, right? The NECA ET figures. So they come in this same kind of style packaging, right? And I think that's kind of like a nice look to have Alf in front of his like Alf box, or like the Back to the Future. I have a lot of those Back to the Future NECA items. Displaying those figures in front of the boxes too, I think is a good look personally. But again, it's all about having the space for it.
I like the cluttered look though too.
No, I definitely like there's like a
Where's Waldo. It's like a Where's Waldo kind of like, oh, you got this guy here and he's hiding back there,
Very true, man. You're right about that. So, what about you, Avery? I think do you do both? I feel like every time we're talking about something, like Erica's like, I've got the Queen Alien. You're like, I've got 2 of those. Or like, oh, hey, what's up with the Spider Gremlin? You're like, I've got 2 of those. So do you buy one, or you like a buy one and keep one in the box and put one on the shelf? Or you both? Or like, what do you do?
It depends. Like the Queen, I was like, I want to have one, and then maybe to keep one in the box, maybe in case if I run into a snag and need to make some quick money. You know what I'm saying? Or so I sometimes for certain things buy 2. Yeah. I don't always do it. It's not like I always do it thing, but if it's something I feel like it's a big thing, I don't know why I just get 2. So like, I got 2 Queens. I got 2 Ed 209s, the original Ed 209s from RoboCop, because they re-brought it out, I think, like last year. Nice. I got 2 Spider Gremlins.
That's cool.
The original Spider Gremlin. And see, when you first would buy stuff from ToyBoyz, I used to buy stuff from ToyBoyz before I found out about Big Bad Toy Store. They would give you like a 5% discount on certain stuff sometimes. I don't know if they still do or don't. So, let's see. I got a double of the DC Collectibles Batman animated series Batmobile. I got 2 of those. So, and the thing is, like,
it's nice to have a backup, I guess, if like one breaks or something, right? Like, that's the other fear too. Like, again, like, if I wait until, and then I have to try to find one on eBay years later, it's going to be like 4 times as expensive. So just grab one as backup.
And I mean, one thing Avery said is right. It's almost, you might not, it might not sound like a wise investment, but a lot of those things he just named off, like if you buy them at retail and they're worth 3-4 times as much now, like if you get into a bind and you can sell, like Chris was saying, you could sell some random pop figure for $300 or $600, or like Avery's friend, if you could sell a pop figure for $600, down the line and get your car fixed. I mean, there is some kind of, there is really like an investment there. There's an appreciation, right, that happens with some of these figures. And obviously it's not all of them. Some of them, I mean, I mean, there's $30 million worth of pops in a landfill right now. So, like, obviously, it's not everything.
They are the modern day equivalent of Beanie Babies.
Oh, pops.
Oh,
Pop.
Oh, man. That's important. Make sure you throw that in there. That is a modern day Beanie Babies. That's true.
Pew 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 pew.
This is Chad McClellan with I'm here with the toy. Damn it! I had a little thing written out the other day, and I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty good intro," and that was really dumb. It's all good, Aaron. You could use this. Please feel free. This is like I'm doing this on purpose for you, Aaron. Really, I want to give you that bonus after credit content. So really, like this is just for your benefit. So just throwing that out there for editing purposes.